Let me share with you my first PBL meeting that I ever went to. In a room just like this, on this campus. I walk in, and there's about this many people here. It's our very first meeting, and they're nominating officers. I've never been to a PBL meeting in my entire life. I was a little bit involved in FBLA, but not that involved. I walk in, and somebody who knows me there goes, "Well, Ron, I'm going to nominate you for president." I'm like, "Well, I've never even been to a meeting. I have no idea anything about PBL," but she nominates me for president. Have you ever been so nervous when you stand up to give a speech that you're talking, but I can't hear myself? I know I'm talking, can't hear myself. I mean, my legs feel like complete jello. I can't even tell you what I said. I said something babbling about if you elect me as your president, something about being a family, and after that, I was pretty much incoherent after that. They do the election. I lose my election for president. Same girl nominates me for vice president. Again, I stand up, some stupid speech about I don't know what I'm talking about. Never been involved in the organization. Lose that election as well. And this is so first meeting, I'm 0 for 2. Nominate me for secretary. Stand up again. By that point, I'm like, I'm just not talking. You've heard my spiel twice. They don't elect me for secretary. I lose again. They nominate me for, I think, historian next. And luckily, nobody else was nominated. So I actually won historian. I don't even know what historian is, but woohoo, I'm the historian of the FSU PBL chapter. I'm historian for 6 months, and then had a chance to go to a couple of conferences. Actually had the chance to kind of get a little bit better at public speaking, learn more about the organization. Decided that next year I want to run for vice president of the chapter. But then I was talked into running for one of the district vice presidents as well at the state level, which is basically like one of the state vice president's positions. So I'm like, you know what, I'll do it. Starting to get a little more confidence in myself, became chapter vice president, then became state vice president. Had a great year as District 4 vice president down in, at that point I was down at Manatee Community College. Ended up running for state president. Ran for state president in a very close election, ended up winning by like 4 votes. And by that point, I'm really getting a lot of the organization. I'm traveling a whole bunch, getting more confidence in myself and my speaking ability. Really having the chance to go out and network with a bunch of different people. And I was actually talked into, I wasn't going to, but I was getting ready to transfer back to Florida State, said, well, you should run for one of the national vice president positions. And I was a little bit hesitant at first, but after talking to my family about it, I thought it'd be a good opportunity. Ran for national vice president back in 94, 95, and then had an unbelievable year. I traveled to 12 states across the country. Got to meet a lot of great members and learn a lot about the organization. I tell you what, when you travel as much as I did that year, you learn so much talking with just a variety of PBL members from across the country to learn about what are their hopes, what are their dreams, what are they looking to get out of the organization, and take a lot of those conversations. I ran for national president in 95 and became only the second elected student leader from Florida to ever become national president of Phi Beta Lambda. It was just an unbelievable experience. I mean, to be national president and to go and be truly the ambassador for the organization at a very high level. I mean, I had the opportunity to talk with a number of pretty high elected officials in DC, had a chance to go to a number of conferences and speak on behalf of the organization, and really become an advocate for funding for career and technical organizations, and really talk about what PBL and FBLA can do for students, and kind of giving them the confidence they need. When I left, so I left Florida State in 97, 98. I had a degree in English, had a ton of experience speaking to different groups, and I think all those elections I was in, within the organization, I actually decided that, well, I like the politics of it, so I actually got into politics. I went to work for a number of elected officials, mostly in Tampa Bay, worked for a couple of state house members, and then worked for a couple of state senators, and then worked for former Senate President Tom Lee from 2000 to 2006. As he said, when I was in 05 and 06, when Senator Lee was Senate President, I had the chance to be one of his policy advisors in the Senate President's office, which is almost kind of like getting a PhD in state government. Had the chance to go from there, work for the Tampa Bay Lightning for 3 years, and then started my own consulting business. Consulting, you're probably wondering, so what in the world does a lobbyist do? Basically, I have about 14 different clients. Most of the clients hire me if they've got issues before the county commission, city council, most of it's before the Florida legislature. I basically go on their behalf and either advocate for or against positions, try to get them appropriations, and so on. I share all of that with you because I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, if you go back to my very first meeting in PBL, and somebody didn't stand up and nominate me for president, for vice president, for secretary, and obviously finally for historian, I guarantee you I would not be standing where I am today. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that the confidence that ultimately I gained, from my 5 years in the organization, gave me the confidence ultimately to be. If you would have told me my freshman year, a lot of you are sitting out there going, man, if you put me in front of the group right now to speak, I would die. And I was in the same position not too long ago. Public speaking and going out and talking about yourself and having that confidence and gaining that experience for it to be successful. I didn't have that. I mean, as a freshman, I kind of started getting it as a sophomore. By the time I graduated from college, I had that. And I can tell you, when I sat in interviews with some of these elected officials to get jobs, I mean, at the end of the day, what set me apart was, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you right now, if you think for whatever reason that you can just sit in your classrooms today and get a 4.0, then go out and you're going to get a very good job, you're sadly mistaken. You're not going to get a 4. If that's all you do is get good grades, but you're not involved in any extracurricular activities, you're not getting involved in any internship programs. I cannot tell you, when we were in the Senate President's office, how many resumes, I had to hire a lot of positions in the Senate President's office. How many resumes I would review, and they all looked the same. They went to FSU, they went to UF, they went to USF, had very good grades. You know what set the resume? So I have my little pile here. So here's somebody that got really good grades, have no experience, goes in that pile. Here's somebody got really good grades again, no experience, goes back over here. Here's somebody that got pretty good grades, but they have a ton of extracurricular activities and experiences. It goes over here. That's what's going to set you apart. And I think that's what PBL is going to do for you at the end of the day. PBL is going to give you the opportunity to get involved. And really, I think the competitions are great. And I know many of you might have joined because of the competitions. I think competitions are fantastic. That wasn't my draw to the organization. What my draw was the leadership skills. The leadership skills that I could actually go out, I could actually run for offices, I can get involved, I can go to conferences, I can get these communication skills I needed, I can actually get some of the leadership skills that I would need to be successful. That's what I cared about. Competitions, don't get me wrong. If you go out and you're trying to work for a CPA firm, a marketing firm, and you can show that you placed first, second at the state level or national level, that's fantastic. And that alone may actually lead to a job opportunity for you. But I think the skills that you're going to gain from being involved in the organization, not only at the chapter level, but at the district level, at the state level, and hopefully at the national level as well. There's so many opportunities from our conferences are fantastic. Like our Fall Leadership Conference that's coming up. I know that some of you are going to that down in Clearwater in November. Our State Leadership Conference in March or April? March. Where our competitions are at. There's a great opportunity there. And that's great. But the other thing I'd definitely encourage you to do is, while you're here at Florida State, is go out, get experience with, if you got internship opportunities, if you've got opportunities to go out and volunteer, if you've got opportunities to go out, tangible things that you can put on your resume that are going to set you apart from other people. Because I tell you what, if my accounting professor didn't say, go to a PBL meeting and show up and get involved, I guarantee you, I would have never had the chance to start my own business. I would never had the chance to, become national president. I'm currently, as was mentioned, I'm the chair of not only our statewide foundation for FBLA PBL, but I'm also the chair of the statewide board of directors. And we're basically kind of set the policies for the organization. And what's great about that is having a chance to come, I spent all those years traveling and talking to people about, what are they looking for? And I tell you what, when most of you probably join this organization at the end of the day is to help prepare you for the transition from school to work. That's what all this is about. I mean, once you have your degree, is to be able to go out and train, be able to transfer your education kind of coupled with your extracurricular activities into to a job opportunity. And I can tell you, we can definitely do that for you. One of the things the board of directors has been working on over the last few years is actually developing a statewide internship program. And I tell you what, there's plenty of internship opportunities for you in Tallahassee. If you're into politics or not into politics, you've got all kinds of internship opportunities up at the state capitol. Any elected official, if you went to any elected official's office and said, I want to come in 3 hours a week just to be able to come in, and if it's answer the phone, if it's whatever that may be, you know how big of an opportunity that is for you for a variety of reasons. Number one, you're going to meet a ton of lobbyists and other elected officials. You're going to meet business leaders that are coming to meet with that elected official. You know what it does more importantly than that? When you finish that internship and you go back to that state representative or that state senator and saying, yeah, I worked for you all, all session. I know it's only a couple days a week for a couple of hours. Can I use you as a reference? And having an elected official listed on your resume as a reference is a great opportunity for you. And again, it's just building relationships. That's probably the biggest thing that PBL did for me was when I was traveling all those places across the nation was building relationships. I don't care what you're going into. If you're going into business, if you want to do your own business, if you're going to go in hotels, whatever it may be, at the end of the day, it's all about relationships. Somebody asked me earlier, did I plan, when I graduated from Florida State, did I plan to own my own business and become a lobbyist? Absolutely not. I mean, my goal at that point was to run for office or become an attorney. And it's funny how things worked out. And the reason I didn't ultimately was because all those years of working for elected officials, coupled with my experience in the organization, all those relationships I built up, gave me the opportunity, to build out those relationships, to be able to go out and start my own company, and work with elected leaders in Tallahassee on behalf of my clients. And I got a really cool client base. I mean, you talk about working for elected officials. That was a cool opportunity. But then you go work for the Tampa Bay Lightning. For those of you that are fans of professional sports teams, it's pretty cool to work for a professional sports team. I did that for nearly 3 years. And again, you talk about internship opportunities. Most professional sports teams have internship opportunities. So if you're going home for the summer to Tampa or Orlando or Miami or Jacksonville, if you've got a chance to try to work do an internship opportunity with a professional sports team, I would definitely encourage you to do that. So I want to leave some time to hear from you. What questions you all have? What do you have questions about the organization? If you have questions about entering the job force, if you've got questions about maybe you got some professional questions with regards to working for elected officials or for lobbying, whatever it may be, I'd be glad to take any questions or hear from you at all. So, not everybody at once. I'll answer anything. Come on. Yes, ma'am. I know you want to ask a question. No? Yes, sir.
What do you recommend for an internship? Like, what do you look for that sets us apart from just another person asking for an internship?
I think some of it's relationship driven. If you know somebody that works for an elected official, maybe if you know somebody that works for a company, or if you don't, you know what? Persistence. The more you show up asking for an opportunity, the more likely you're going to get it. I was talking to somebody earlier today, and we were kidding about, the funny thing about hard work is a lot of times the harder you work, the luckier you're going to be. So if you go out and you work really hard and find opportunities potentially to apply for, especially if you're going to the same organization over and over and over again, you may have an opportunity. And when you're looking for internships, by the way, trust me, I've been there, done that. I know you need to eat. I know you need to make money. But if you've got an opportunity to take an internship where it's an unpaid internship to begin with, jump at it, especially if it's a company that you want to work for, or if it's an elected official you want to work for. I mean, I'm using elected officials just because you'd be surprised. You think I'm lying. If you go to about just any elected official's office and say, look, I'm a student of Florida State, I want the opportunity to come intern for you for a couple days a week for a couple of hours, you may not be the least interested in politics, and that's fine. The people you're going to meet, the number of business cards you're going to collect from and walking into that office is anytime anybody comes in, you'll be the person sitting there to see Senator Norman. Well, before they can see Senator Norman, they have to see you first. You can take their business card, and that's a relationship that you just built. You need to be surprised. A lot of these people up here have offices. So let's say, you know, you're interested in maybe working for Verizon, for example. Well, Verizon's got people up here. If you're interested in, you know, going to work for, you know, one of the professional sports teams, we all got lobbyists up here. I represent the Tampa Bay Lightning still, so so it's really just trying to find, number one, trying to find the fit. But I think, you know, working for elected officials is a great opportunity.
Thank you.
Yep. I know there's another hand. Yes, ma'am.
How easy was, or how hard was the transition from you, like politics to like a consultant to lobbyist and all this other stuff? Make it sound so easy.
Well, you know, it wasn't easy, but when I was working for the reason I left the Lightning ultimately is because when I started working for the Lightning, about 90% of my job was related directly to government relations and 10% was related to community relations. In the 3 years I was there, it flip-flopped. 10% was doing 10% was government and 90% was community relations. And most of my relationships and my experience was in state government. I just spent 8 years working for elected officials at the Capitol, 2 years working for a Senate president. So I didn't want those relationships to go stale. And so the Lightning was actually in the process of being sold, so I approached the new ownership group about the opportunity potentially to start my own business. So one of the things is, you know, I took advantage of an opportunity. I mean, to your point earlier about how do you make these things happen is I saw an opportunity. The opportunity was, you know, I could stay there and begin to do my job the way I really didn't want it to do, or I could potentially go start my own business and build a company that I can be proud of. You know, 2 years ago we had three clients, and now we've got 14. But I can tell you, all of my success within my firm has all been based upon my 8 years working for elected officials. All those relationships that I built, all the knowledge I built about the legislative process has led to my success there. Yes, sir.
Does your firm, our consulting group, do they offer students internships or job opportunities?
Sure, I can, if anybody's interested. So I'm in Tallahassee a lot during, we're up here a lot during, up here three weeks this week. And just to kind of give you a taste, you're probably thinking again, so what exactly does a lobbyist do? But I'll get back to answering the question, but what exactly does a lobbyist do? Monday I drove to Tallahassee. We probably have 6 client issues this year that are actually up this week, either before a committee, meeting with a number of elected officials about, one was an appropriations issue, one was actually an amendment to a bill that we want to do. So a number of, mostly a lot of meetings. Typically I meet, as I tell my 7-year-old son, I'm in meetings all day long. I'm in Tallahassee through Thursday. I'm back in Tampa Thursday night. I drive to Fort Lauderdale on Friday. I'm in Fort Lauderdale meeting with 3 local governments on potential issues on Friday. I'm come back to Tampa Friday night. On Monday morning, I get on a flight to Vegas, and I'm in Vegas for 3 days. I've got a client issue out there, believe it or not. I'm not a bad client to have is in Las Vegas. So I'm out in Vegas for 3 days. Fly back on Thursday, back to Tampa, and then that following Monday, I come back to Tallahassee for another week. So I'm here the week of the 17th, the week of the 31st, a week in November, a week in December, and basically all of January and all of February. You know, one of the things we've talked about is, I have a couple people that work for me is talking about, are we willing to take on an intern? And I think we would be willing to talk to somebody about maybe in January, February, they can help us monitor bills, go to different meetings, build relationships with people, give them some opportunity as well. So absolutely, we would be open to that. So, what else? How many people in here are underclassmen? How many people were involved in FBLA? So good. That's good. Actually, that's really good. So, why did you join? For freshman or sophomore? Why? For somebody that was on this campus, I can tell you, lots of opportunities out there. Why join PBL? What are you looking for?
to be that business leader since tomorrow, right?
Yep. Are we doing that?
That's what I'm trying to do.
Good.
I haven't joined yet, though. Just
What are, from the standpoint of other organizations that are on campus, I mean, you know, PBL is probably one of the more economical ones to join. So that's probably a plus. I can tell you, I don't think the other ones offer the leadership opportunities that we do, though, because we truly are a student leadership organization. I mean, the state officer team develops their program of work, and the board of directors tries to support that. You know, our foundation, our statewide foundation, we raise money. The entire reason we raise money is to have local chapters support having students go to state leadership conferences. So that could be, you know, it could be in Clearwater for the fall conference. It could be in Orlando or Tampa for the state spring conference. It could be going to NFLC with the National Fall Leadership Conference, which I believe this year is in New Orleans.
Little Rock, Philadelphia,
Is it?
and Milwaukee.
Okay. Where's Nationals at this year?
San Antonio, Texas.
Or go to the National Leadership Conference in San Antonio. So I mean, so from number one, from a travel standpoint, you know, and I think from a leadership opportunity standpoint, a lot of the organizations, and yeah, they've got, don't get me wrong, they'll bring in some great, you know, guest speakers and so on, but I think the one thing that's going to set us apart is I think leadership opportunities, volunteer opportunities, and travel opportunities. And I know travel costs money. I mean, I get that. But I think from a fundraising standpoint, I know many of you are involved in student government. You know, there's opportunities there to get funding. I mean, if you can raise the money to get to these state leadership conferences, I can promise you it will change your life. I mean, I guarantee if you can go to a state leadership conference, particularly the spring one or one of the national, especially like the national leadership conferences, it will change your life, and you know, talk about being not potentially sold yet. Is I always talk about, you know, like corporate sponsors. I've got a lot of people from the corporate world who give a lot of money to FBLA PBL. The place I sell them the most at is, if I've got a business that is just thinking about giving a check to their organization, what they have to do is take them to a state leadership conference, and I guarantee I can close the deal. Guarantee. If I can get them in the room, see the enthusiasm of all of our students, how excited they are to be there, how excited they are about their future, how excited they are about, you know, academic events, or about, you know, getting involved in workshops, about relationship building, about their future, I can close the deal. That's it. You guys are so easy.
I have
You have
one more
nothing else? Yes, ma'am.
I guess it's like more of a personal question. How do you stay grounded, like, as far as like, I'm sure like your job could probably like overtake your life. Like, how do you turn companies down? Because I'm sure like you've turned some down.
Well, number one, the way I stay grounded, it's called a wife. My wife does a great job of making sure that, you know, I don't get too high on myself. You know, one of the things that, you know, when you're around elected officials and business leaders and so on, is staying humble, number one, but also I think more importantly, if you can, is staying true to who you are and don't change just because you get a little bit of success. And my wife's been great at doing that. With regards to clients, you know, one of the things where I've been very, very fortunate about is, you know, when you have your own business, you can take on clients that you want to take on. And we've actually, our client base is really built around, we have a lot of not-for-profits. We have a lot of most of our client base is from Tampa Bay. We've actually had the chance to take on some clients we've actually turned down. Like last year, we had somebody that was dealing with gun permits, and we thought about taking them on. And they would actually probably pay a lot of money. So making a lot of money, you know, is that good? But you're taking on an issue that, do you really believe in that issue? And, you know, when you're lobbying somebody, you know, because basically what you're doing when you're lobbying a legislator is you're basically selling that idea. And if you're trying to sell something you don't believe in at the end of the day, you're not going to be all that successful. And so one of the things that we've kind of built the firm around is we're only going to take on clients, we're only going to take on issues that we really believe in. So we've got a lot of not-for-profits. And don't get me wrong, in not-for-profits pay okay, but, you know, you also have to have the Tampa Bay Lightning and Peppa Distributing, which is the Anheuser-Busch distributor for Hillsborough and Pasco counties. The Tampa Bay Partnership, which is Regional Economic Development Group out of Tampa Bay. Peppa Heart Hospital, which is one of the leading heart institutes for the entire nation. So, so we've been fortunate to be able to take on clients and issues we care about. So, what else?
Don't be shy, guys. This is a great network to make. So ask any questions you may have. They'll answer anything.
And you guys are easy. This is one of my easier meetings of the day. So this is,
Are
the
you
Rays
guys-
lost today. That kind of stings since you're baseball fans. But I can't believe the Magic is over. So had tickets to the game. I'm up here as opposed to being back in Tampa. That's a, I guess I didn't miss much, so that was good. Nothing else? I'm gonna stay around a little bit. If you've got questions afterwards, if you've got, if you want to talk about internships, if you want to talk about other opportunities, just let me know. But otherwise, I wish you all the best. Let me leave you with this. There's a quote I heard from a long time ago called, "Confidence is the key to success, and if you have that key, the world is your door waiting to be unlocked." You're not going to get that confidence by just sitting at your desk, taking notes, and doing well in exams. You really have to do, I think, a better job of getting out, being involved in extracurricular organizations, being involved in PBL. I can tell you, you know, I wish I could, I mean, I don't know how to share this with you, but if my CPA, you know, my accounting teacher did not make me go to my first meeting, and somebody didn't stand up and nominate me to run for historian, which I didn't even know what it was at the time, and win that election, you know, would I probably end up working for elected officials? Probably not. And that one domino that fell at that point is really what, you know, ultimately gave me the success, and more importantly, gave me the confidence to have that success. You know, working for elected officials and translating that working for the Lightning and starting my own business. So, again, I'll see you afterwards if you got questions, anything. I'd love to answer them. So, thank you all very much. Appreciate it.